Here are Grandma's 25 plus old-fashioned food hacks to try today. Use a mortar and pestle. Enhance the flavors of your spices and herbs by using a mortar and pestle, just like Grandma did. Start by placing your desired spices or herbs in the mortar. Hold the pestle firmly in your dominant hand and use a circular motion to crush and grind the ingredients. Applying steady pressure, continue grinding until you reach the desired consistency. This method releases essential oils, which are often lost in pre-ground spices, resulting in a more potent and fresh flavor. Ideal for creating spice blends, pastes, and marinades, this traditional technique elevates the taste of your dishes, making them more aromatic and flavorful. Test eggs in water. Bad ones float. Ensure your eggs are fresh with a simple water test. Fill a bowl with cold water and gently place the eggs in it. Fresh eggs will sink to the bottom and lay flat on their sides, indicating they are still good to use. Eggs that stand upright or float are no longer fresh and should be discarded as they may be unsafe to eat. This quick and easy test helps you avoid using spoiled eggs, ensuring safety and quality in your cooking. Use leftover cheese in mac and cheese. Did you know that using leftover cheese can make your mac and cheese extra delicious? Start by grating or chopping any leftover cheese you have on hand. Prepare your favorite mac and cheese recipe, and when making the cheese sauce, mix in the leftover cheese along with your usual ingredients. The variety of cheeses will create a richer, more complex flavor. Combine the sauce with cooked pasta, then bake in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius until the top is bubbly and golden brown, usually about 20 to 25 minutes. Store fresh herbs in a glass of water like flowers. Did you know you can keep fresh herbs vibrant longer by treating them like flowers? Trim the ends of the herb stems and place them in a glass filled with water. Cover the herbs loosely with a plastic bag to create a mini greenhouse effect. Store the glass in the refrigerator. This method keeps the herbs hydrated and fresh for a longer period, preserving their flavor and texture. Use this technique for herbs like parsley, cilantro, and basil to ensure they stay ready for your culinary creations. Change the water every few days and remove any wilted stems to maintain freshness. Keep cookies fresh with tissue paper. Maintain the freshness of your cookies by storing them with tissue paper. Line the bottom of an airtight container with a sheet of tissue paper. Place a layer of cookies on top, then cover with another sheet of tissue paper. Repeat this layering process until all the cookies are stored. The tissue paper absorbs excess moisture, preventing the cookies from becoming soft or stale. This simple storage method keeps your cookies fresh and delicious, ready to enjoy at any time. For best results, store the container in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. This method works especially well for homemade cookies, ensuring they remain as tasty as when they were first baked. Add salt to overcooked coffee to remove bitterness. Did you know that adding a pinch of salt can save overcooked coffee? As Grandma would say, if your coffee tastes bitter or burnt, sprinkle a tiny amount of salt into the pot or cup. The salt counteracts the bitterness by neutralizing some of the acidic compounds, making the coffee more palatable. Stir well to ensure the salt dissolves completely. This quick fix can rescue a pot of coffee and make it enjoyable again. Use this trick sparingly, as too much salt can overpower the coffee's flavor. Just a pinch will do wonders, transforming your coffee into a pleasant beverage. Marinate tough meat in vinegar and broth. Transform tough cuts of meat into tender, flavorful dishes by marinating them in a mixture of vinegar and broth, just like Grandma did. Combine equal parts of vinegar and broth in a bowl or resealable bag. Add your meat, ensuring it is fully submerged in the marinade. The acidity of the vinegar breaks down the meat fibers while the broth adds moisture and flavor. Marinate the meat in the refrigerator for at least a few hours or overnight for best results. Cook the marinated meat as desired and enjoy a tender, juicy dish. Add a bit of baking soda to green beans for vibrant color. Enhance the color of your green beans by adding a small amount of baking soda to the cooking water. Fill a pot with water and bring it to a boil. Add a pinch of baking soda to the boiling water before adding the green beans. The baking soda helps maintain the beans' bright green color by neutralizing the acidic environment that causes dulling. Cook the beans until tender, then drain and serve. This simple technique ensures your green beans look as appetizing as they taste. Your meals will be more visually appealing with this easy trick. Cut onions lengthwise to reduce tears. Did you know that cutting onions lengthwise can help reduce tears? Onions contain sulfur compounds that are released when their cells are broken. Cutting onions lengthwise from root to stem minimizes the damage to the cells, reducing the release of these tear-inducing compounds. Start by cutting off the stem and peeling the skin. Slice the onion lengthwise, making sure to cut through the root end, which holds the layers together. Next time you chop onions, try this technique for a tear-free experience. Save rice water for gravy. Don't throw away the water used to cook rice. It can be a valuable ingredient for making gravy. After boiling rice, strain the water into a bowl or container. This starchy water adds thickness and flavor to gravies and sauces. To use, simply substitute rice water for regular water or broth in your gravy recipe. Heat the rice water in a pan, add your desired seasonings and thickening agents, and stir until smooth. Butter pie plates to keep crust crispy. Keep your pie crust crispy by buttering the pie plates before adding the dough. Start by softening a small amount of butter at room temperature. Using a pastry brush or paper towel, evenly spread the butter over the entire surface of the pie plate, including the sides. This creates a barrier between the dough and the plate, preventing the crust from becoming soggy during baking. Once the pie plate is well buttered, proceed with laying out your pie dough and adding the filling. Boil shellfish with salt. Enhance the flavor of your shellfish by boiling them with salt. Fill a large pot with water and bring it to a boil. Add a generous amount of salt to the boiling water, about 1 to 2 tablespoons per quart, to mimic the natural salinity of seawater. Place the shellfish in the pot and cook them until they are done, which usually takes just a few minutes depending on the type and size of the shellfish. The salt in the water infuses the shellfish with a deliciously briny flavor, making them taste fresher and more flavorful. Serve them immediately to enjoy the full burst of flavor. Salt and cold water eggs for easy peeling. Make peeling hard-boiled eggs easier by using salt and cold water. Start by boiling the eggs as usual. Once they are cooked, transfer them to a bowl of cold water and let them sit for a few minutes. Grandma would then add a teaspoon of salt to the ice water, which helps to loosen the eggshells. The rapid cooling and the salt's action cause the shells to contract, making them separate more easily from the egg whites. After a few minutes, gently tap the eggs on a hard surface to crack the shells and peel them off. Add lemon juice to rice. Brighten the flavor of your rice by adding lemon juice during cooking. Begin by rinsing your rice thoroughly under cold water to remove excess starch. In a pot, combine the rinsed rice with the appropriate amount of water as per the package instructions. Squeeze the juice of half a lemon into the water before bringing it to a boil. The lemon juice adds a subtle citrusy flavor and keeps the rice grains from sticking together. Once the rice is cooked, fluff it and enjoy the enhanced, fresh taste. Your rice dishes will have a noticeable burst of freshness and zest. Add a splash of vinegar to pie crust for flakiness. Did you know adding a splash of vinegar to your pie crust dough can make it flakier? When preparing your pie crust, mix a small amount of vinegar, about 1 teaspoon per batch, into the ice water before adding it to the flour and fat mixture. The acidity of the vinegar helps to inhibit gluten formation, which results in a tender and flaky crust. Combine the ingredients just until the dough comes together, being careful not to overmix. Add vegetables late in stews. For the best texture and flavor, add vegetables late in the cooking process when making stews, just like Grandma did. Start by preparing the stew base with meat, broth, and seasonings, allowing it to simmer until the meat is tender. About 20 to 30 minutes before the stew is done, add your vegetables. This timing ensures that the vegetables retain some of their texture and don't become overly mushy. Harder vegetables like carrots and potatoes can be added first, followed by softer ones like peas and bell peppers. Don't boil stew, soup, or stock. To achieve the best flavor and texture, avoid boiling stew, soup, or stock. Instead, maintain a gentle simmer. Start by bringing your liquid to a boil, then immediately reduce the heat to maintain a low simmer. Boiling can cause tough meat, cloudy broth, and overcooked vegetables. A gentle simmer allows flavors to meld together slowly, resulting in a richer and more harmonious dish. Skim off any impurities that rise to the surface during simmering for a clear and flavorful broth. Add a pinch of sugar to tomato-based dishes to reduce acidity. Balance the acidity of tomato-based dishes by adding a pinch of sugar. Whether you're making pasta sauce, chili, or tomato soup, the natural acidity of tomatoes can sometimes be overpowering. Start by cooking your dish as usual, then taste it. If it's too acidic, add a small pinch of sugar and stir well. Allow it to cook for a few more minutes, then taste again. The sugar neutralizes some of the acidity without making the dish sweet. Use bacon grease for frying and seasoning. Did you know you can enhance your dishes by using bacon grease for frying and seasoning? After cooking bacon, save the rendered grease by pouring it through a fine mesh strainer or paper filter into a heat-proof container. Use bacon grease to fry eggs, potatoes, or vegetables, adding a rich, smoky flavor to your meals. Start celebrating Fridge Raid Fridays. Reduce food waste and save money by starting Fridge Raid Fridays. At the end of each week, go through your fridge and pull out any leftovers, near expiry items, and odds and ends. Get creative by combining these ingredients into new meals, such as soups, stir-fries, or casseroles. Not only does this practice help you use up food that might otherwise go to waste, but it also encourages you to think creatively in the kitchen. Soak unpopped popcorn to reuse. Maximize your popcorn yield by soaking unpopped kernels. After making popcorn, collect the unpopped kernels and place them in a bowl. Add enough water to cover the kernels and let them soak for about 30 minutes. Drain the water and pat the kernels dry with a paper towel. The moisture helps to rehydrate the kernels, making them more likely to pop when reheated. Store the soaked kernels in an airtight container and use them the next time you make popcorn. Buy the basics and think creatively. Save money and reduce waste by focusing on basic ingredients and thinking creatively in the kitchen. Stock up on versatile staples like rice, pasta, beans, canned tomatoes, and flour. Use these items as the foundation for a variety of dishes, adapting them to whatever fresh ingredients you have on hand. For example, rice can be turned into stir-fries, salads, or used as a base for bowls. Pasta can be paired with different sauces, vegetables, and proteins. Beans can enhance soups, stews, or be made into salads. Experiment with different spices and cooking techniques to transform simple ingredients into exciting meals, ensuring you utilize what you have and minimize waste. Use a wet paper towel to keep salad fresh. Keep your salad greens crisp and fresh by using a wet paper towel. After washing and drying your greens, place them in a bowl or airtight container. Lay a damp paper towel over the top of the greens before sealing the container. The moisture from the paper towel helps maintain the humidity levels inside the container, preventing the greens from wilting. Change the paper towel every few days to maintain freshness. This method extends the life of your salad greens, ensuring they stay crisp and ready to eat for longer. Grate frozen bread for crumbs. Create fresh breadcrumbs by grating frozen bread. When you have leftover bread that's starting to go stale, freeze it instead of throwing it away. Once frozen, use a box grater or a food processor to grate the bread into fine crumbs. These breadcrumbs can be used immediately or stored in an airtight container in the freezer for future use. Fresh breadcrumbs are perfect for breading, topping casseroles, or adding texture to dishes. Keep corn fresh with sugar and vinegar in water. Extend the freshness of your corn by storing it in a sugar and vinegar solution. Fill a large container with water and add a tablespoon of sugar and a tablespoon of vinegar. Stir until dissolved. Place the ears of corn in the solution, making sure they are fully submerged. Store the container in the refrigerator. The sugar helps maintain the corn's natural sweetness, while the vinegar prevents spoilage. Cut bread lengthwise for less sandwich waste. Instead of using 2 slices of bread for each sandwich, slice a loaf of bread lengthwise to create larger, thinner pieces. This method allows you to make open-faced sandwiches or fold-over sandwiches with just 1 piece of bread. It's especially useful for large loaves or artisan breads that are too thick for standard sandwiches. Cutting bread lengthwise not only reduces waste, but also makes for a more manageable sandwich, perfect for minimizing carbs or creating unique sandwich presentations. Add a splash of milk to scrambled eggs for fluffiness. Want fluffier scrambled eggs? Add a splash of milk before cooking. Crack the eggs into a bowl and whisk them thoroughly with a splash of milk, about 1 tablespoon per 2 eggs. The milk adds moisture and creates steam during cooking, which helps to puff up the eggs and make them lighter. Pour the egg mixture into a hot, greased pan and cook over medium-low heat, stirring gently until the eggs are just set. For more contents like this, click here to subscribe.